He's so fat. Let me show you. I don't even know where my phone is, but I have to show you him. He's so funny. Are you being a sweet boy? Are you being a sweet boy? You're just being loud. And you're fat. You're making your hammock come down. Hey guys, my name's Brittany and welcome back to Book Birdie. You may or may not know that the month of March is actually Women's History Month. So, Goodreads came out with a list of 96 nonfiction books to read for Women's History Month. Now, we're about halfway through the month. I've kind of wanted to read a handful of these for a while now, so I'm kind of excited to get them on my TBR and read them throughout the year if I haven't already. So I took the ones that I was really interested in and I put them in a list and I ranked them from the highest rated to the lowest rated on Goodreads. So I was just going to go through them with you. The top 3 actually I've already read, so maybe I'll just go in order from there. I have 15 books to tell you about and I'll just give you a short little synopsis for each of them, and they're going to be in order from most popular on Goodreads to the least popular on Goodreads. So let's get into it. So the very first one is Know My Name by Chanel Miller, and to no one's surprise, this is the top book. It has 4.72 stars, which is pretty crazy for a book. This one is about Brock Turner when he sexually assaulted someone on Stanford's campus and then only got 6 months of jail for it. And for a long time she was known as Emily Doe, Chanel Miller, and she finally came out and said what her name was and came out with this beautiful memoir about the whole scenario and why women don't come forward because it's so traumatic, and just kind of the whole process of that. It's a tough one to read, but it's worth it. It's a really good one, and as you can tell, it's almost got 5 stars on Goodreads, which is amazing. It has 159,000 ratings too. Number 2 I just recently read by Jeanette McCurdy. It's I'm Glad My Mom Died. This one was really good. This was a tough read as well. It reads kind of like a fiction because she writes it to you as if she's just talking to you, like telling you a story, and it's really good. And if you listen to it too, it's actually narrated by Jeanette, and it's amazing. I didn't know anything about her history or her mom or anything like that, and the intrigue around this book was kind of the popularity of it. And I did enjoy iCarly, so the book kind of ruined iCarly for me, but you know what? It doesn't matter because it's so sad how her life like came to be this way. It's a really, really awesome book, so you should check that out. This one has 421,000 ratings, which is so many, and it has 4.54 stars. So that, if that tells you anything. Number 3 is In the Dream House by Carmen Machado. And this one I just recently finished as well. It has 4.46 stars with only 89,000 ratings. So this one's a little lesser known about, but it's kind of a memoir similar to I'm Glad My Mom Died. It's more about a relationship instead of her whole life though, just a chunk of time where she's in an abusive relationship. She's actually a lesbian in an abusive relationship, and kind of the different dynamics that comes with that, especially if your family doesn't approve of being gay in the first place, and then you have an abusive relationship on top of that. It's kind of something no one ever thinks about, and it's written kind of in a poetic format. It's not poems, but it's a really interesting way to read the book. It was a really interesting way to tell the book. The 4th most popular that I was interested in is Notorious RBG. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her story, just kind of how she started as a lawyer and then became like this internet sensation, and then also became this feminist pioneer woman kind of all at the same time. She did a lot for the community, and a lot for gender equality and civil rights as well. And this one's going to be a little more political, so if you're interested in the gender equality and the lawyer side of things, I think this will be a little more geared towards you. I'm interested enough to read it and see kind of what was going on in that time. And that one has 4.19 stars and 57,000 ratings. Number 5 is Radium Girls by Kate Moore. Now this one I have always been so interested in, and it should probably just take precedence over everything else because I've wanted to read it for so long. And this one's about when they discovered the element radium, and it like is so bright and shiny that everyone's like, this is great, this is amazing, we should put it on everything. They like put it in lotions and tonics, and I believe they painted like watch faces with it. And the women that worked in these factories where they processed, the radium to put into stuff, were glowing and becoming really ill. And glowing. They were glowing. Visibly glowing. In real life. This happened in real life. And it's just funny how, like, you find something new and you have no idea what it does to the community, and so you just put it out there. Like when they put cocaine in Coca-Cola and they're like, this is fine. This is great. It's in fact not fine. It's not great. So this one has 4.15 stars and 125,000 ratings. Number 6 is A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell. This one is about a woman who became an American spy, and she was denied being any form of military because she's a woman and she had a prosthetic leg, okay? She finally talked her way into being a spy. She's the first woman to deploy into occupied France, okay? Now, I know this sounds historical and you're like, I don't like history, but like, listen, it's a woman with a prosthetic leg and she's like the best spy in the world. It says that the Gestapo sent out an urgent transmission. She is the most dangerous of all Allied spies and we must find and destroy her. She ended up being the Madonna of the Resistance. And I think we have to read it. I think we have to read it. This one has 4.14 stars and 39,000 ratings. Number 7 is The Dark Queens by Shelley Pahak. We're going even further back in time now. Okay, we're back in the medieval era, and I feel like this is going to be like Game of Thrones, just probably with no dragons. But I'm hoping it kind of reads that way. But this one's about Brunhild, who is a Spanish princess, okay, Brunhild, and Fredegund, who's her sister-in-law. Okay? They're not allowed to be in no politics, you know how it goes. Like, we're not allowed to be in anything where women, gross. You can have children, that's it. They end up, like, taking over and ruling an entire empire for years and years and years, and there's not a lot of information on these women. So Shelley, the author, goes and does a bunch of research, and she tries to, like, piece it all back together and create this whole story for you. The Dark Queens also has a really pretty cover. So I like this cover, the two women. It looks cool. It looks, I want it to give me Game of Thrones vibes. And it has such good ratings that I feel like it's gotta give you like a story. It's gotta give you like a storytelling vibe, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be that great. You know what I'm saying? So this one has 4.12 stars with only 1,000 ratings. So maybe that's why it has such high ratings. I didn't realize how many people voted on that one. It was a nominee for Best History and Biography in 2022. So I'm gonna give it a chance. Oh, it's not that long. It's less than 400 pages. I think I could probably do that. I wonder if they have an audiobook. Okay, number 8. Number 8 is called The Five, and it's the untold stories of the women killed by Jack the Ripper. So this one's gonna be more of a true crime situation, also historic, but it's probably gonna lead more like a true crime, which I also enjoy. This one was actually nominated for the Best History and Biography of 2019, so there's that. This one has 47,000 ratings. It's 4.12 stars as well, so they're both the same. This is what it says. For more than a century, newspapers have been keen to tell us that the Ripper preyed on prostitutes. Not only is this untrue, as historian Hallie Rubenhold, I'm so sorry, it's written by Hallie Rubenhold, I forgot to tell you that. As historian Hallie Rubenhold has discovered, it has prevented the real stories of these fascinating women from being told. Okay, number 9 is Victoria the Queen. This one's also nominated for Best History in 2017, so it looks like the top list, looks like all the ones that I'm interested in have already been nominated for every year. And I've always been interested in Queen Victoria because she was kind of the one that was like the radical queen. She was the one that wanted to actually be involved in the power. It says she survived 8 assassination attempts. 8. Wow. It just seems like an interesting thing. I love The Crown, the show on Netflix. I haven't actually finished it, but it reminds me of that, and so at the time that I was watching that, I was like, I need something to supplement it because I was waiting for the next season. So I wanted to read Victoria the Queen. I just haven't. I believe that it's a fat book. It is. It is 696 pages. So if you're really, really interested in Queen Victoria, maybe do it in chunks. Maybe just read like a chapter a year. No, don't do that. Maybe do it in chunks. Maybe just read like a little bit here and there. That's like your nonfiction that you have going on the side type of book. This one has 4.09 stars and 10,000 ratings. Okay, number 10 is Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly. This one was nominated in 2016. So this one is about the black women of NASA that actually got us to the moon. They played a crucial role in the American NASA program to get us to the moon. But this was happening during kind of like right in the middle of the civil rights movement. So everything was still segregated. There was still like black bathrooms, black coffee pots only. And not only were they black, they were also women. So not only is there segregation there, there's segregation there. They just have double segregation going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, just thank you for getting us to the moon. This one's actually a movie as well, and I've wanted to watch it, and I still haven't watched it. Somehow I still haven't watched it, so maybe I will actually move this up on my list, read it, and then watch it. I'll make my boyfriend watch it with me, and then I'll make a video about that too. So let's do that. We'll do that. Hidden Figures has 3.97 stars and 99,000 ratings. Number 11 is The Yellow House by Sarah Broom. This one is about a family that comes together. They end up having 12 children as a mixed family. Sarah's mom, so Sarah wrote this book. She's one of the kids. She's one of the 12 children. And her dad dies shortly after they buy this house, the Yellow House in New Orleans. And now her stepmother is going to have to take care of the family. But she's a woman in the 60s. She's also black in the 60s, and there's 12 kids, a house in New Orleans where it's not taken care of. It says The Yellow House is a brilliant memoir of place, class, race, and seeping rot of inequity, and the internalized shame that often follows. It is a transformative, deeply moving story from an unparalleled new voice of startling clarity, authority, and power. So I really wanted to read this because it's actually written by the daughter. So it's like kind of a biography memoir thing, and I really like those. I liked Jeanette McCurdy's. I liked In the Dream House. I need to kind of branch out and add more to the pool of the memoirs that I'm reading, because reading about lives that are not like mine is very interesting, especially lives back in the day. This one has 3.91 stars with 22,000 ratings. I think it's a little underrated, so I'm hoping it's kind of like a hidden gem. Okay, the next one is Butts, A Backstory by Heather Radke. This one I am so intrigued by. It's kind of about, I mean, it's all about butts and just how society has changed in the image of butts over the years. Like how butts themselves are criticized, assessed. It's all about butts. The whole thing. I'm so excited for that one because I want to know. What is it? What is it? This one has 3.78 ratings with only 2,000 reviews. So it's still kind of fresh and up and coming. I think it just came out. Yeah, it came out in November 2022, so it's still pretty fresh. I'll probably read that one soon, so it's kind of still kind of a new release. But I'm so interested. What is it? What is it about butts? I don't know. So I've always been a little bit interested in Egyptian mythology, so I have 2 books from them. They're both in there's only 3 books left. So this one is When Women Ruled the World by Cara Cooney, but she also has The Woman Who Would Be King by Cara Cooney. Both of these have kind of mixed ratings, it seems like. When Women Ruled the World, it's about 6 pharaohs, and I've always been interested in Egyptian mythology, Egyptian pharaohs, and everything about their like culture has always been interesting to me. So I think I might enjoy these books a little more than somebody else who is not interested in Egyptian culture. And this one's all about the women rulers, the pharaohs, 6 of them, and I've just always been intrigued. And this one has 3.69 stars with only 5,800 ratings. And then her other one, which is at the bottom of my list, so this one's number 15, The Woman Who Would Be King. This one's specifically about Hatshepsut, and she was the longest reigning pharaoh. She was the 2nd woman pharaoh in existence that we know of, and I thought that would be cool to read specifically about her as well. And then the final one that I have goes right in between these 2, number 14, which is Come Fly the World by Julia Cook. This one is catered specifically to me because of the planes, but I thought it was interesting because this one is specifically about women back in Pan Am days when we had Pan Am, and like flying was like this elegant thing. You would like dress up in a suit, you would eat lobster on the plane. Like it was, you had to have money to fly at that time. At that time, to be a flight attendant or as they called them back then, a stewardess, you had to have certain parameters. Like you had to be between 5'3" and 5'9". Okay, so I'm already out. Already out. You needed to be between 105 and 140 pounds. They put a cap on your weight. Between 105 and 140. And you could not be older than 26. So you had to be under 26. In this book, they put together a bunch of the women's true stories with a cast of characters, and then they just kind of talk to you about it. It's kind of like a memoir, biography. She also has a story of Hazel Bowie, who was one of the very few black stewardesses at the time. So I thought that would be interesting, especially for me. And I think if you listen to it, I think it's a cast of characters, so I'm excited about that as well. And this one was a nominee for the Best History of 2021, so I have a lot of those on here that I picked. But nominee doesn't mean too much, it just means that somebody put it in there. This one has 3.67 stars with 8,801 ratings. So those are 15 of the 96 books that Goodreads put on the list. So I'm sure there are many, many more that you might be interested in. I did rank them from the most popular to the least popular, and I'm planning on kind of reading them throughout the year, try and get a little bit of history. I always want to read more nonfiction, so I try to like hype myself up for nonfiction, so maybe I can also hype you up for some nonfiction, and maybe you can add some of these to your TBR as well. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!